LeBron James just passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. He's now number 3. Oh yeah, who do you think is the best player in NBA history? Find out on Helmets Off, because it's on. All right, welcome to another edition of Helmets Off. Helmets Off is now on. I'm your host, Scott Mitchell, and of course, LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers via the Cleveland Browns, via the Miami Heat, via the Cleveland Browns, is now the 3rd highest scorer in NBA history. And the people ahead of him are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, and of course, Kobe Bryant. Ironically, at one time, all of the top 4 scorers in NBA history have all been Los Angeles Lakers. So if you want to be the scoring champ, I guess you go to the Lakers. I don't know. So this whole thing of passing Michael Jordan, of course, Michael Jordan was at the game, and LeBron is kind of on everybody's radar. And what's LeBron doing? What's he not doing? Is he happy? Is he sad? What teammate has he ostracized today? Who does he want to get rid of? Is he coaching the Lakers? And just Luke Walton is kind of a figurehead. You know, it's like, what did LeBron have for breakfast? It's this country is fascinated about LeBron James. And of course, the debate about who's the best basketball player of all time. Is it LeBron James? Is it Michael Jordan? And how do you even measure something like that? Do you measure it by championships? Do you measure it by scoring? Do you measure it by statistics? Like he's a better rebounder, he was a better assister, he's averaged more points a game. What is it? What is it that actually you say that's the greatest of all time? And I have a bias, and I can't get over my bias, so I can never get past my bias of LeBron James. And everyone talks about it. I mean, he's so dominant, he's so amazing. And wherever he goes, I think he's been in like the last 8 NBA finals, and of course, I think he's only won 2 of them, maybe 3. And in fact, I think he only has 3 titles of all. Now you look at Michael Jordan, and he went 6 times and won 6 times, and actually took a hiatus in the middle of his career to see if he could actually hit curveballs in minor league baseball. Had he stayed, the Bulls probably would have won at least 2 more championships, because they were just that good. And when he came back, he actually won championships after, so you could obviously see, and those were like his prime years that he actually went and played baseball. So is it just the championships, and what is it? And I don't think there's like a criteria that you could sit here and you could say, okay, these are the reasons why he's the greatest. Of course, they're used as arguments, and they're great points. I mean, there's a lot of validity to it. But the reality is these 2 players played in different eras. And what all that means is the things that were available, the way the rules were, the way travel was, the way the league was, it's just different. So you can never really compare 2 people in a different era. And quite frankly, I don't even know why we continue to do this. And I don't know why I do it. I just think it's interesting, but it's not that there's this debate, it's that I have this bias against LeBron James. So no matter what he's done in his career, how many points he scored, all these great things he's done, how dominant a player he is, I just can't get over the fact that his entire career has been about buying championships. It just never sits right with me. It always feels like cheap. It always feels like you're kind of skirting the rules, or you're trying to manipulate the system, or you're trying to find a loophole, and you're not letting the natural course of what I believe sports is all about. And there are these teams in these cities, and the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, they just epitomize something. The Bulls and Jordan were just kind of a thing. Magic and the Lakers, Larry and the Celtics, and these players, Bill Russell and the Celtics, and Wilt Chamberlain and the Lakers, all these players, and you have David Robinson and the Spurs, and you have Dirk Nowitzki with the Dallas Mavericks, or you have Dwayne Wade, who was always with the Miami Heat, or some of these champions that have they're identified with a city. And that to me is what the meaning of sports is you have your team. Like I'm from Utah, and my basketball team is the Utah Jazz, and I equate John Stockton and Karl Malone to the Utah Jazz. And quite frankly, I'm not happy about Gordon Hayward. I hate that he left. It just like sits, like just my blood boils. And the fact that Karl Malone at the end of his career went and played for the Lakers, who are like our natural born nemesis if you're a Utah Jazz fan. You just hate the Lakers. It's terrible. You can't stand the Lakers. And so that's what sports as a fan is you have your team and you identify what that team is to you. And it's a lifelong thing. It's not, well, this player and then the player leaves and you change. It's like you have this association forever. And when you have someone like who's a hired gun, or winning isn't about that connection to your city, it's about, all right, where can I find the best players in the NBA who are going to want to go and we'll create this team and like we'll just beat everyone. Well, how fun is that for the rest of us who are fans? It's unfair. Like you have an advantage because of who you are, and quite frankly, you're manipulating that advantage, and I think it's wrong. Now, had LeBron James started with the Cleveland Cavaliers and stayed there, and had won championships with the Cavaliers in the town that he grew up in, then that means something to me. Then I can sit there and I can go, wow, I really like this guy. I mean, another guy like Shaq, and Shaq's funny and you watch him on TV and all this stuff, but he's a guy that bought into this whole let's go to another place to buy a championship, and I just don't like it. And I understand free agency and getting a maximum contract for yourself, and maybe there's a debate about that might be okay. That, if a team's not willing to pay you, fine. And if they're not willing to put a team around you, maybe that's a different deal. I don't know. But I just don't like, I'm gonna look for the best suitor for me, because these players, they're great players. They're going to get paid no matter where they are. They really are. They're just going to get paid. So what does it matter? So it matters to the fans. It matters to the people that when you leave, we're still here and we're still fans. And when you manipulate us or we help develop you and off you go, it's a hard thing to swallow. All right, Helmets Off is now off. You can text Helmets to 65537. Go to Facebook at the Helmets Off Podcast, or also Twitter at the Helmets Off Show. Hey, and by the way, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, even though he pushed off Brian Russell. That's a different story. Until then, we'll catch you soon.